Is today's potent cannabis a miracle cure or a mental health risk in disguise? The conversation has never been more heated, and the latest research is about to turn up the volume. A sweeping, detailed review of scientific studies has raised red flags about high-potency cannabis products, shining a spotlight on the hidden dangers as well as the mixed findings that continue to fuel debate. High levels of delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, the chemical responsible for marijuana's psychoactive effects, are at the heart of the controversy. Let's break down what the researchers found, a powerful link and a growing concern. Out of 99 rigorous studies analyzing how strong THC levels affect mental health, roughly 70% of non-medical use, where cannabis isn't being used to treat illness, showed a disturbing connection. People using highly potent THC were more likely to experience psychosis or schizophrenia. What's more, about 3/4, 75%, of these studies also linked high THC products to cannabis use disorder, a pattern of problematic use that can be difficult to break. But here's where it gets controversial. When it comes to anxiety and depression, the story isn't so clear-cut. About half the studies suggested that potent cannabis might worsen anxiety or depression. But results varied, especially depending on whether the participants already had mental health issues or were otherwise healthy. Dr. Jonathan M. Samet and his team, writing in a leading medical journal, pointed out that these findings build on earlier reviews. The evidence continues to grow that stronger THC content increases the risks of serious mental health problems, regardless of whether someone is already vulnerable or has no prior diagnosis. Who's most at risk? A particularly alarming insight. Healthy users, people without existing mental health challenges, seem to be at considerable risk when consuming high THC products. Dr. Patricia Cavazos-Reg, in a thoughtful editorial, warned that while some therapeutic benefits have been observed in special populations, such as people with cancer or neurological conditions, these benefits don't outweigh the harms seen in otherwise healthy individuals. Here's a twist most people miss. In studies where potent THC was used as part of medical treatment, for example, to ease cancer-related anxiety and depression, nearly half reported positive results, yet up to 30% still found the drugs made these conditions worse. So, does the risk justify the reward? A rapid evolution in cannabis potency. Let's put this into perspective with a quick history lesson. Back in the 1960s through the 1980s, most cannabis flower contained 2 to 4% THC. Fast forward to today. In legalized states, the average THC content is about 20%, with some vaping products soaring to a staggering 70 to 90%. That's a mind-boggling jump, potentially transforming the way marijuana affects our brains and bodies. Since California's breakthrough legalization of medical marijuana in 1996, the policy landscape has changed dramatically. As of February 2025, 39 states plus D.C. permit medical use, and 24 states plus D.C. have also greenlit recreational cannabis. Colorado, one of the earliest adopters, called for this very review to better understand the risks tied to these extra potent products. Digging deeper into the studies, the review covered a vast pool of data. Nearly 100 studies, over 221,000 participants, and a wide range of designs, from randomized controlled trials to large observational studies. Focus was on products with more than 5 milligrams or 10% THC per dose, or those labeled as concentrates, shatter, or dab, methods known for delivering powerful hits. Notably, the participants were mostly adults aged 18 to 59, primarily white, and only a small percentage were older adults or teenagers. Here's a snapshot of what they found when comparing people with higher versus lower or no THC exposure. 58% of studies linked strong THC to higher risk of psychosis or schizophrenia, while just 11% found any benefit. For anxiety, 41% showed harm and 28% benefit. For depression, 36% showed harm and 31% benefit. 75% associated it with cannabis use disorder, compared to just 8% reporting any benefit. Other substance use issues, 75% harm, 25% benefit. But here's a potential bombshell. 95% of these studies had moderate to high risk of bias, meaning the results could be unreliable. Almost all of those carefully conducted studies, however, pointed to no benefit or outright harm from powerful THC products. The questions nobody's answering yet. Despite all this research, glaring gaps remain. For example, is there a clear THC level where risk suddenly jumps? Which patients, if any, could truly benefit from using these potent products, especially for anxiety? Most studies didn't even track what types of cannabis products were used, how much, or how often, leaving critical clinical questions unanswered. Dr. Samit emphasized the urgent need for better research, particularly targeting ultra-strong THC products like today's vape pens and concentrates. So where does this leave us? Public health experts urge doctors and health professionals to actively discuss these findings with patients. And this is the part that could divide opinions. Given such uncertainty and potential for harm, should access to high THC products be restricted or better regulated? Or does their potential for therapeutic use mean adults should ultimately have the right to choose? Now it's your turn. Where do you stand on this issue? Do you think high-potency cannabis presents an unacceptable risk? Or do you believe the potential medical benefits make it a risk worth taking? Have you or someone you know experienced unexpected effects from strong cannabis products? Share your thoughts and join the debate in the comments below.